Within the shrine, the 7 universe lords sat around a round table. We knew you were coming, hence we all rushed back from various places in Qingfeng world just to welcome you. Yuho smiled. He and LuoFeng were both from the primal ancestor bloodline. One was the disciple of the Darkness Lord, the other was the disciple of the primal Chaos City leader. Naturally they were much closer when they conversed. LuoFeng smiled and looked around. Peng Worker Leader, Darkness Absolute Leader, Flint Leader, Swan and I Leader, I'll have to trouble you all to welcome me? This is your first time entering the Universe C, we will naturally welcome you. Master Peng stroked his beard as he laughed. Some of the other Universe Lords have entered the Leaning Peak World's water domain or the inner domain of the Leaning Peak World. Just to come out, they have to fly and avoid many dangers. The shortest would be 100 years, the longest would be an eras. Hence they couldn't make it in time. LuoFeng nodded. The more dangerous the place, the more one couldn't blindly teleport. One teleport could result in death. LuoFeng has just entered the Universe C, according to the old rules. The primal Chaos City leader smiled and waved his hand. Immediately the 7 Universe Lords all had a cup filled with wine. Milky Way leader, I wish you endless treasures and eternal life. The primal Chaos City leader smiled and said to his disciple. Endless treasures and eternal life. The other 5 masters of the universe said. LuoFeng nodded, endless treasures and eternal life. He knew this rule too. After all, coming to the Universe C was a risk. Even Universe Lords with clones had a chance of dying. Even the strongest of the universe could die, who could say they wouldn't? At most, if they were careful and avoided the dangerous areas, they could live longer. However, without a doubt, here it was a risk. For the treasures. Milky Way leader, even though endless treasures and eternal life. However, there are still some things I have to say. Flint Lord said directly. LuoFeng frowned and smiled. Flint Lord, please speak. Flint Lord was naturally stubborn and blunt. LuoFeng had long heard of him. With your strength, if you were to travel with the other universe lords in the outer regions of Qingfeng world, it's still alright. However, if you were to travel alone and search for treasures, that's far from enough. Flintstone Lord's voice was deep and resounded throughout the hall, especially the craziest First Universe Era's warriors. If you move out alone, the moment you meet a First Universe Era's warrior, there's a high chance you'll die. Of course, I know that you have the ability to create clones, but at the very least, the treasures on your human clone are all gone. In my opinion, the value of the treasures on you is not low. LuoFeng shook his head and laughed. This Flintstone master really lived up to his reputation. His words were really blunt. He knew that he was still lacking, but there was no need to slap him in the face like this. Yes, the powerhouses of the First Universe era are all crazy. Seeing this, the Lord of Nether Marquis hurriedly changed the topic. Who knows, they might go crazy and fight to the death. They are the hardest to deal with. I can't blame them for being crazy. The Lord of Absolute Darkness said hoarsely, the primeval universe reincarnated for generations, even if they managed to escape the destruction of the primeval universe. But according to what we know, experts can only live for 3 reincarnation eras at most. Once the time is up, their first universe's reincarnation era will all fall, including the universe's strongest. Yeah, he can only live for 3 reincarnation eras at most. The primeval universe reincarnates one by one. Just looking at the 10,000 broken little universes in the cosmic sea, one would know how many of the universe's strongest have fallen. There's no way they can surpass the 3 reincarnation eras. Only the 2 sacred lands are special. The 2 sacred lands are just 2 universes. LuoFeng nodded within. The cosmic sea indeed had many unsolved mysteries. Why can they at most live for 3 reincarnation eras? Why are the 2 sacred lands an exception? Just how big is the cosmic sea? Just how many little universes are there? How many danger zones? Are there really only 3? Is there a possibility that there's a 4th that's on par with Qingfeng World, Flowing Mountain and the Universe Boat? The first universe era is facing the threat of destruction. The primal Chaos City leader said. Hence they are even crazier to train themselves. Without a doubt, the stronger one is, the more likely they are to break through. After all, the 2 sacred lands have succeeded before, naturally they wouldn't give up easily. LuoFeng, you have to be wary of the strongest of the first universe era. LuoFeng nodded, yes teacher. Not just the first universe era, all the pinnacle of universe lords, you have to remember them all. Flint Emperor emphasized, if you meet them, avoid them as soon as possible. And the 2 sacred lands, you have to avoid any one of them. Your current strength is much weaker than theirs. LuoFeng frowned. I know you're unhappy, but I'm doing this for our great alliance. Flint Emperor said, if you meet with any danger, immediately ask the virtual universe system for help. The virtual universe system will immediately send a message to all the warriors of the Great Alliance, getting the fastest warriors to rush over immediately. I understand. LuoFeng nodded, not saying much. LuoFeng was indeed unhappy, however he didn't argue, letting the truth speak for itself. Very quickly. Lord Yuho, Lord Penggong, Lord Dark Absolute, Lord Firestone, and Lord Bai all left the gathering place and started their adventure in the Leaning Peaks world. Flint, on account of the primal Chaos City leader, speak less, and that LuoFeng isn't as weak as you make him out to be. Swan and I and Flint Emperor conversed in space outside the Qingfeng world. What, we have to lower our heads before the primal Chaos City leader. And I wasn't wrong at all, I even said it lightly. Flint Emperor spat out 2 balls of fire from his nose. That LuoFeng battled with Banfalord. What did Banfalord do? That's because he's proficient in illusion attacks, his material attacks are weak, he doesn't even have his strongest techniques. LuoFeng, however, was suppressed, he had to use that miniature primal chaos world at the end to be on par with Flint Lord. The miniature primal chaos world can at least kill so many knights in one hit. Flint Lord said. It can only deal with the weak in a large area. Flint Emperor said, the miniature primal chaos world is similar to a domain treasure, it's fine to deal with the weak in a group. However, against the strong in a one-on-one, it can only add power, and this large area strongest technique consumes a lot of god energy. It consumes god energy, it can only add some power, even if it does, it's about the same as Flint Lord's material attacks. If not for this miniature primal chaos world, I'm afraid anyone can bully him. Flint Emperor spat out another ball of fire from his nose. I said it lightly, he's at the bottom, those old fellows from the first universe era that have trained for countless years are all crazy, the two sacred lands can easily trample on him. Am I wrong? If he dies, at least his treasures will be taken. How long has he been training? The treasures are probably given to him by the human race. Flint Emperor said, we worked hard to get just one good treasure, he just became a universe lord and already has a pile of treasures on him. Look, this Luo Feng will definitely suffer a huge loss. You put it that way, his strength is indeed weaker. Swallowed Lord nodded his huge head. Who asked him to be a human? Even if he encounters danger, his teacher Primal Chaos City leader will save him. In terms of true strength, without his teacher, he'll be roaming outside Qingfeng alone, it'll be weird if he doesn't die. That Heaven Body Mountain Surface Canyon, within the shrine, only Luo Feng and the Primal Chaos City leader were left. Luo Feng, I have to go roam too. The Primal Chaos City leader said, if there's anything you can contact me through the virtual universe. Yes, teacher. Luo Feng nodded. The Primal Chaos City leader smiled and glanced at Luo Feng, after which he teleported and vanished. Watching the Primal Chaos City leader disappear, Luo Feng looked at the shrine behind him. In the blink of an eye, he was the only one left. It seemed like the experts who roamed the cosmic sea were indeed tempering themselves. The Universe Sea map has information on Qingfeng world, and the large powers information, I still have to carefully study it. Outside the shrine on a boulder. The silver-armored and silver-winged Luo Feng immediately sat crossed-legged and closed his eyes, carefully organizing the information, summarizing the important points that he had to pay attention to. Wah! The Heaven Body Mountain rock maintained a speed many times that of light. Luo Feng within the canyon was very calm, he wasn't in a rush to enter Qingfeng world's outer region. Luo Feng flipped his hand and took out a tag. Teacher Mountain Passenger contacted me? No wonder it's a treasure-level tag, I can even contact you in the Universe Sea. Luo Feng's consciousness permeated the tag. A message was within it. Luo Feng, you're in the Universe Sea? Mountain Passenger sent a message. Yes. Luo Feng replied. Which of the 3 great danger zones? Mountain Passenger asked. I'm in Qingfeng world. Teacher, how do you know it's definitely in the 3 great danger zones? The 3 great perilous lands have the most treasures. Almost all the major forces have gathered in the 3 great perilous lands. If you don't go to the 3 great perilous lands for the first time, are you going to some remote place that is extremely dangerous but has very few treasures? You humans aren't that stupid. Alright, if you meet with any danger you can ask teacher for help, only I hope you don't. Understood. Luo Feng replied. Universe Sea, within the endless chaos energy flow, the core of the dangerous North China snow mist region. Surrounded by endless energy flow, a lonely palace emitting green light floated. Within the palace, there were silhouettes of servants, every single one of them was a universe knight. This was where Mountain Passenger's true residence was. The North China snow mist region, this dangerous place also represented Mountain Passenger. There were close to 100 powers in the Universe Sea, yet none of them dared to provoke Mountain Passenger. Everyone knew. Mountain Passenger wasn't to be trifled with. Great Hall. On the throne, a 90,000 kilometers tall majestic old man sat. A snake man expert with a human body and the tail of a snake was waiting in front of the Great Hall. Haha Puti, your little junior has entered the Universe Sea too. Mountain Passenger's voice rumbled. Congratulations teacher. Puti said. It's too early to congratulate him, his strength is still far from enough. Mountain Passenger gazed at Puti below. Puti, you followed me the longest, you understand me the best. I'm very disappointed, I've almost given up already. You're hardworking, however I know, among my 3 disciples, Luo Feng has the highest potential, your second junior is second, your potential is the weakest. However, you're the strongest now. Puti bowed, I've only trained the longest and I've always been by your side. I've seen a lot, so I've comprehended a lot. He's always been low-key, never showing off, even Flame Emperor looked down on him, thinking that he was just a servant before. How could he know that Puti's true strength has long since surpassed him? I'll give you a chance. The same chance as your second and third juniors. You should also go to the Universe Sea and train. Mountain Passenger looked at Puti, flipping his hand and a broken piece of green wood appeared. I'm unable to prepare a treasure that suits you the best, so I'll give you this wondrous godly wood. It's been in my hands for countless eras, it's just a collection in your hands, it should be able to unleash its full power. Puti's body slightly trembled. The same chance as his second and third juniors? How long had he been waiting for these words? Yes teacher, I'll definitely do my best, I won't disappoint teacher. Puti bowed, his voice filled with confidence. Go. Mountain Passenger nodded. Pu Ti bowed again then left the main hall. Mountain passengers gazed past through the door, seemingly passing through the endless chaotic airflow, looking at the distant leaning peak world, slowly saying, "I've waited for too long, too long." On the surface of the celestial mountain rock was a dust particle-sized life form. 1,000 kilometers tall human LuoFeng. Pinnacle world. LuoFeng stood on the celestial mountain rock, gazing at the endless space around him. In the distance there was a majestic mountain peak and the huge waterfall that poured down. It emanated endless energy. That energy caused countless celestial rocks to revolve around it, causing large amounts of chaos energy to be forced away. From today onwards I, LuoFeng, will begin exploring the universe ocean. LuoFeng's eyes gleamed. Shwa. He immediately vanished from the celestial mountain rock and entered the distant space. After which he continued to teleport, heading straight for the endless water region formed by the waterfall. The pinnacle world's outer region could be split into space and water regions. The space region referred to the space with many huge celestial rocks. The danger level was extremely low, only within some of the rocks would occasionally be dangerous. Countless celestial rocks, over the long years, many had already been explored. Hence the warriors in the pinnacle world's outer region were mostly referring to the water region. The water region formed by the waterfall surrounded the entire main mountain. The water region was filled with strange rocks and dangers everywhere. There were many places where even universe lords didn't dare teleport. They had to carefully fly forward. Only at the edge of the water region would one teleport after a domain treasure had checked and found no danger. Pinnacle world's outer region's water region, the most commonly seen and terrifying danger is the water spirits. LuoFeng stood in midair and gazed down at the endless water region. The water region was vast, with a diameter of a few 100 million light years. It was even bigger than a human universe country. Even bigger than the ancestor god's secret region. Water spirits have no intelligence. They only have instinct. The moment I get close to them they will attack. A water spirit in this region, borrowing the power of the water region, is comparable to a universe lord. LuoFeng was shocked within. After which, he carefully rushed into the water region below, causing a few waves. In the universe ocean, even undyings would be instantly destroyed if they entered. And for this endless water region to exist, it was obvious the water was extraordinary. Every drop was like a star, the waves raged and the impact was terrifying. However, universe lords could easily defend against these. The water region is filled with danger and treasures too. LuoFeng was clear. The treasures in the water region had many ways to exist. To acquire them, 1 needed luck, 2 needed strength and 3 needed courage. When LuoFeng entered the water region, in the vast and endless depths of the water region, about 100 million light years away from him, large amounts of mountain rocks rose up and down. The pressure of the water had reached an extremely terrifying level. Even a universe paragon would be instantly turned to dust. Rumble, a celestial mountain rock slowly rose up, causing the surrounding mountain rocks to shake. The celestial mountain rock slowly rose up, and continued. The entire process lasted for a while before it stopped. The celestial mountain rock had already protruded out to a height of nearly 1,000,000 kilometers. Everything returned to normal. LuoFeng, who was over 100 million light years away, didn't sense anything at all. He continued to carefully explore the water and only at the shallowest part. About 3 million light years away from LuoFeng, the towering Flint Lord, whose body was faintly surrounded by flames, was flying slowly in the water. Naturally, he had already separated from the Tao Lord. After all, in the cosmic sea the chances of finding treasures would be higher if they went their separate ways. Humph. The humans brought LuoFeng to the cosmic sea to train him and nurture him well. Our great alliance's non-humans don't have such a chance. Flint Lord was infuriated within. Without taking any risks he already has so many treasures on him. It's said that he already has a few at the sector lord level. Let's see. Let's see how much trouble this punk will cause. He'll probably make the other parties ask for help very soon. Flint Lord was filled with disdain. Such a thing wasn't unheard of. Just like back then, the primal universe demon race nurtured and trained Changjiu Lord. Changjiu Lord was an absolute genius of the demon race back then. His potential was extremely huge. He had been training in the cosmic sea for a long time and was given powerful treasures to protect himself. If he met any danger he couldn't defend against, the other demon race warriors would immediately save him. After so many years of training, Changjiu Lord had indeed become one of the most terrifying universe lords of the demon race. His position was only lower than Monster Dream and Zhen Yao. Obviously, these two were very insightful and could see through Changjiu Lord's potential. However, this couldn't hide the fact that back then when Changjiu Lord had asked for help many times, the entire demon alliance had rushed to save him. This LuoFeng's potential is indeed high. He's indeed an absolute genius. However, right now he's obviously at the bottom. If he meets those old geezers of the universe lord, he'll probably be at a disadvantage and have to ask for help. Flintstone Lord shook his head. Let it be, let it be. I just don't know if he can reach Changjiu Lord's level in the future. Even though he was unhappy, Flintstone Lord understood that the moment LuoFeng asked for help, if he was close, he would immediately rush over. If he asks for help and I save him, I'll definitely teach him a good lesson. Flintstone Lord thought. He understood that this would make Luo Feng unhappy. However, after training for so many years and becoming a universe lord, did he still need rules and regulations to restrict himself? If he wanted to laugh, he would laugh. If he wanted to scold, he would scold. So what if he was stubborn? If he didn't like you, he would scold you. So what if he didn't like Luo Feng? The Flintstone Master carefully avoided some water spirits in the depths of the water. Those water spirits were all white in color. White air currents were sometimes in the shape of humans, sometimes in the shape of beasts. They were in all kinds of shapes and sizes, floating in the water. This place was already very deep and extremely dangerous. Even flying speed was very slow, much less teleportation. He didn't even dare to teleport. After all, the moment he was caught by the water spirits, the outcome would be terrifying. Flintstone Lord was suddenly shocked. Space lock. The ripples in the surrounding water suddenly stopped. This made Flintstone Lord know something was wrong. He carefully looked around and saw a speck of light in the distance. Ha ha ha, Primeval Universe Human Alliance's Flintstone Lord? That speck of light laughed loudly. His laughter passed through the water and instantly reached Flintstone Lord. That speck of light. It was a human-shaped being. His entire body was emitting a hazy white light. Behind his head were circles of white light. Within the white light there was a huge eye silhouette. God-eyed race. Flintstone Lord turned and became a beam of light to escape. The God-eyed race was one of the pinnacle races of the First Universe era. They were also the strongest race of the First Universe era. They had a total of 7 strongest warriors of the universe. This was a very secretive and terrifying race. It should be considered that during the reincarnation of the universe, when the primeval universe evolved, there might have been some special accidents that led to the emergence of such a heaven-defying race. Can you escape? The God-eyed race expert said. Rumble. Countless specks of sand appeared out of thin air. Countless specks of sand instantly filled the surrounding area with a radius of 3 light years. One had to know that the surrounding space was already sealed. Actually, even if it wasn't sealed, no one would dare to teleport recklessly. After all, this was considered a deep and dangerous place. A radius of 3 light years? How could Flintstone Lord fly out in a short period of time? Ice Sand Sea. Flintstone Lord gritted his teeth. He turned back to look at the human-shaped being that was emitting white light. He snorted angrily and spat out flames from his nostrils. Master An Yong, I didn't obtain any amazing treasures. When I saw you, I immediately escaped. Is there a need for you to chase me so relentlessly? Life is limited. The human-shaped being that was emitting white light said slowly. Eternity is hard to come by. Finding the path to eternity through endless slaughter is my only path now. Firestone Master, it's better to die. What? Shrouded in white light, behind his head was a white halo and a single eye silhouette. An Yong Lord was rushing at Flintstone Lord with extreme speed. Damn. Flintstone Lord roared. You want to kill me? Dream on. Simultaneously, he continued to flee, trying his best to stall for time. At the same time, in the primal universe, his body was swiftly sending out a distress signal in the virtual universe. Before, I was still saying Luo Feng was asking for help. I didn't expect that in the blink of an eye, I'm asking for help. This first universe era madman, he's really a madman. I'm unlucky to actually meet Master An Yong. Flintstone Lord was filled with anxiety. He knew that his life was truly in danger. I need either the primal Chaos City leader or the Peng Worker Lord to rush over. Only then will I have a chance of surviving. Flintstone Lord was clear that the only ones that could rush over in a short period of time were the few he met at the assembly area. Like Nether Hole Lord, Swan and Eye Lord and Absolute Darkness Lord, they weren't strong enough. Even more so for Luo Feng. Only the primal Chaos City leader or the Peng Worker Lord could save him. It was just that the primal Chaos City leader and the Peng Worker Lord were very strong. They could very well have gone to the inner region of Qingfeng World. If they were in the inner region, it would take a long time for them to rush over. The moment the distress signal was sent, the virtual universe system immediately related to the universe lords of the Human Alliance in the Universe C. Flintstone's distress signal? The first universe era God-eyed race's Master An Yong is chasing after him? Deep within the mountain of Qingfeng World Lord. Rumble, flames rushed into the sky. Every single flame attack was enough to kill a universe lord. The savage giant's every step was like a phantom, flashing past the irregular eruption of flames. I'm deep within. It'll take me a long time to rush back. I won't make it in time. Flintstone, it'll depend on your luck. Master An Yong? At this time, the Swan and Eye Lord was the closest to Flintstone Lord. It was over 1,000,000 light years away from Flintstone Lord. Its huge head blinked its eyes. This is troublesome. I'm afraid I won't be of much use even if I go. However, I'll try my best and see if I can help. The Swan and Eye Lord swiftly rushed into the sky. With a teleportation, he arrived in the sky above the water region. After which, he continued teleporting and headed towards his destination. Luo Feng too received the distress signal. Distress signal? Flintstone Lord's distress signal? Looking at the marked location, it's only about 3,000,000 light years away from me. Even though Luo Feng wasn't too happy with the Flintstone Lord, he was after all on the Human Alliance's side. Master An Yong isn't to be messed with. Luo Feng immediately teleported out of the water region. After which, he immediately teleported again and again, swiftly heading towards his destination. Deep within the dark waters of the Pinnacle Realm, 2 towering figures were madly fighting. The Master of Security An Yong held a golden scepter in his hand. Sometimes he would use it as a staff and sometimes he would use it as a heavy hammer. Regardless of whether he used it as a staff or a heavy hammer, The secret technique he used was always the strongest secret technique he had. And every time they clashed, Master An Yong didn't even block Flint Lord's attacks. It was a complete exchange of blows. Madman. Everyone from the First Universe era is a madman. Master An Yong is a madman among madmen. Ah! Flint Lord roared in pain and anger. He tried his best to dodge as far away as possible. Every time they clashed, the longer the better. That way he would be able to stall for more time. However, in this ice and sand sea, his speed was clearly much slower. He was also at an absolute disadvantage. Naturally, Master An Yong caught up to him time and time again. Primeval Universe Human Alliance Flint, fall in peace. Become my sacrifice on the path to eternity. Master An Yong's voice was gentle. However, that scepter seemed to have pierced through the universe. Hong Long Long, the golden scepter struck out. The scepter's head was shaped like an ellipse, and the tip of the ellipse was like the mouth of a gourd. Selah. The scepter whistled over. Space and time twisted as it easily dodged Flint Lord's roaring long spear. The tip of the scepter directly smashed into Flint Lord's chest. Without being blocked by any treasures or weapons, the full power of Lord An Yong's attack landed on Flint Lord's chest. Cracked, his armor shook and Flint Lord's chest shook violently. Cracks appeared on his divine body, and at the same time, he flew backward without any resistance. Of course, before he flew backwards, his long spear also smashed into Master An Yong's body. Pung! This strike created an incomparably low sound. Master An Yong suffered this strike. His divine body strength was immediately affected. However, it quickly recovered. He only paused for a moment before continuing his attack. Super Madman. Why did I meet him? Even if I met the other powerhouses of the universe's first era, I wouldn't be so miserable. As the Flintstone Lord was sent flying, his heart was filled with hatred. In terms of strength, he, the Flintstone Lord, was also at the peak of the masters of the universe. He was an existence comparable to the Flare Emperor. The Master An Yong used a better treasure, and his divine body was slightly stronger, so his overall strength was only one level higher than the Master of Flintstone. The Flintstone Lord was at the pinnacle level. The Lord of Peace An Yong was at the pinnacle level, comparable to the peak of ice. Logically speaking, a difference of one level should not be enough to threaten one's life. However, the Master of Safety An Yong's fighting style was to exchange injury for injury, purely relying on the rapid consumption of his divine body. Even a powerhouse of the same level as him would have a headache, let alone the Flintstone Master who was a level lower than him. Back when Luo Feng fought against the Star River Emperor. The Star River Lord's strongest move, the River in the Night, Luo Feng used the Star Pagoda to block it, but it still took a toll on his body. If he didn't have the Star Pagoda to block first, and instead traded injury for injury, LuoFeng's body would probably be destroyed in one move. Exchanging injury for injury. It wasn't something he could do just because he wanted to. If Flintstone Master's huge axe was extremely strong, and he could block the scepter time and time again, naturally the Master of Safety An Yong wouldn't be able to exchange injury for injury. However, the reality was that the Master of Safety An Yong had the advantage in terms of techniques. Using his strongest techniques in turns, sometimes as a hammer, sometimes as a rod, sometimes as a spear, it was unpredictable and every move was terrifying, causing Flintstone Master to be unable to block most of them. Daring to exchange injury for injury. He still had to have enough confidence in his defense and body. After all, while he was attacking the opponent was attacking him too. If his body was too weak, not only would he not be able to exhaust the opponent to death, he would instead exhaust himself to death. That would be a joke. Flintstone, I don't dare recklessly enter the area covered by the ice-sand ocean. I can't help you either, you can only rely on yourself. A voice resounded through the water. Swan and I leader. Flintstone Master was first delighted, but soon disappointed. It was useless. The Swan and I leader's strength was similar to his. Just the area covered by the ice-sand ocean was a few light years away from teleportation. Just flying alone would take a long time, there was no way to save him. Even if he could fly here, the Swan and I leader's strength was not enough. No one can save you. You have less than 50% of your divine body left. Probably another 10 moves will be enough to kill you. The Master of Safety An Yong wielded a scepter and instantly arrived with a smile. Damn it. Isn't he just relying on his armor and his divine body clone? Flintstone Master roared in his heart. The reason why he had fled earlier was because he knew the Master of Safety An Yong's fighting style. The Master of Safety An Yong's armor was a top-grade peak-grade armor. It was said that it could weaken an attack by 1 in 100,000. The genetic level of An Yong's divine body was nearly 10,000 times higher. An Yong carried a clone with him. It was a plant life form with a massive divine body that was millions of kilometers long. Even if he was exchanging injury for injury with the plant life form's massive clone constantly replenishing him, he could still use this move with great ease. My divine body is also a special life form divine body, and it is also 100,000 kilometers tall. If I were to block it with a weapon, it would probably take him a very long time to exhaust me to death. Exchanging injury for injury, the rate of consumption of the divine body is clearly 100 or 1,000 times faster. No matter how hard Flintstone Master fought, he was still hit by the hammer. Rumble. His divine body was weakening 42%, 37%, 31%. Be willing to die. The Master of Safety An Yong smiled. No. Flintstone Master tried everything, be it dodging or using his weapon to block, but it was useless. The Master of Safety An Yong's techniques could instantly change. It was unpredictable, making it hard for him to defend. The Swan and I Master was in the shallow water region, looking at the endless ice sand ocean. He could only sigh. Flintstone, other than Peng Gong leader and the primal Chaos City leader who can rush over to save you, no one else can help you. Rumble. A silhouette appeared beside him. Swan and I Master. A familiar voice resounded. The Swan and I Master's huge head turned fiercely. A silhouette appeared beside him. It was the silver-armored black-haired human. Luo Feng. The Swan and I Master was disappointed, communicating mentally. Luo Feng, right now Flintstone Master is being chased by the An Yong Master. Unless Peng Gong leader and the primal Chaos City leader appear, we have no other way. Don't rush in too. The moment you enter the ice sand ocean, you'll be in danger too. I may not be able to defeat the An Yong Master, but I'm not afraid of him. The black-haired human said directly. Oh? The Swan and I Master was shocked. Following closely, a hazy and boundless golden light instantly appeared in the boundless domain of water. Along with the appearance of this boundless golden light, a rumble could be heard as violent golden flames surged out. With the support of the Golden Kingdom, the surging golden flames destroyed the sea of ice and sand as easily as breaking dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Wu slaying wings, fire sand cup, the two stacked together. Despair. Flintstone Master was truly in despair. His divine body was already depleted to 20%, his resistance was much weaker. Fall. The An Yong Master continued smiling as he walked forward. Suddenly, the An Yong Master's expression changed greatly. Who is it? The An Yong Master roared furiously. Rumble, as if the heavens were falling and the earth was shattering, the sea of ice and sand, that trapped the Flintstone Lord like a swamp, causing the Flintstone Lord's movement speed to be ridiculously slow, instantly crumbled. The surrounding boundless water instantly turned into a sea of fire. Under the endless flames, the Flintstone Lord immediately revealed an excited expression. Flintstone Master, why aren't you leaving? A voice resounded in his ears. This voice. The Flintstone Master was stunned. That familiar voice, wasn't that the human he scolded, Luo Feng? Why aren't you leaving? Quickly. The voice urged. So. The Flintstone Master immediately fled for his life. This escape made him feel incomparably carefree. Before in the ice sand ocean, it was like he was stuck in a swamp. However, now the endless golden flames didn't obstruct him at all, instead constantly helping him, pushing him from behind, causing his speed to rise rapidly. An Yong Master's fate was the exact opposite. His speed decreased. Who is it? An Yong Master raged. This is your primal universe's Yuan Ao Lord's flaming sand cup. That golden domain can actually control time and space. Just who are you? His god energy was clearly stronger than LuoFeng's, yet he was still at a disadvantage. This was because treasures, secret techniques and so on had different requirements for divine power. Treasures and techniques all had a minimum requirement and a maximum limit. Just like the miniature universe, Luo Feng had only reached the minimum requirement back when he was at the undying level, and it consumed at least 10% of his god body. That was the minimum requirement. However, as Luo Feng's strength continued to rise, he would get closer and closer to the maximum limit. If Luo Feng became a universe lord, his god body would rise by 100 times. Then just his strongest technique, miniature universe, wouldn't be able to consume 10% of his god body at once. Like those universe lords who used their strongest techniques over and over again, the consumption was limited too. Ultimate secret techniques and strongest secret techniques naturally consumed different amounts of divine power. Treasures were the same. Only when one's strength reached a certain threshold could they be used. The higher one's strength, the stronger the treasure's power. However, there was a limit to the treasure's power. Hence normal treasures were abandoned by the universe lords. They were more interested in the pinnacle treasures or even the strongest treasures. Top treasures. Pinnacle treasures. Ultimate treasures. If I had a pinnacle treasure, I wouldn't have let you escape. An Yong Emperor was incomparably furious, simultaneously releasing the space lock. Wah. In the distance, Flint Emperor was overjoyed, immediately teleporting to the shallow water region. I want to see just who it is. An Yong Emperor relied on his space senses. Naturally he could feel that Flint Emperor had only teleported a few light years away, hence he too teleported over. Luo Feng and Swan Emperor were both in the water region. Beside them, Flint Emperor appeared out of thin air. Flint Emperor saw Luo Feng and immediately felt awkward. Luo? We'll talk later. Luo Feng's expression changed. Not far away, another figure had appeared, a humanoid figure wielding a scepter. His entire body glowed with a hazy white light, and behind his head were circles of white light, within which was the shadow of a single eye. It was the Lord of Peace An Yong. An Yong Emperor's eyes were filled with rage, staring at Luo Feng who had spread his wings. Human? I've never seen you before. An Yong Emperor raged. You'll know me in the future. Luo Feng glanced at An Yong Emperor. Shwa. Luo Feng and the other two immediately teleported. This time they teleported out of the water region, fleeing far away. Human, silver-winged black-haired human. An Yong Emperor madly let out a sharp roar. His roar was filled with rage. The Master of An Yong stood in the shallow waters, the one-eyed figure in the halo of light behind his head looking incredibly ferocious. Silver-winged, black-haired human. Since he's here to save the Master of Flint and is with the Master of Taowu, it seems like he's also a human from the primeval universe. The Master of An Yong pondered. The three great eras of the universe had given birth to the human race, and in the first and third eras, the human race was ranked as the peak race. Only in the era of the second universe, the human race was considered a weaker force, and only one of the strongest beings in the universe was born. Perhaps in the primeval universe, a race with the strongest expert in the universe could be called a peak race. However, in the eras of the first and second universes that had gone through a complete cycle of reincarnation, the number of the strongest experts in their universes was much higher. Hence, the humans of the second universe era and Luo Feng's primal universe were similar in strength, however they weren't considered the pinnacle races of the second universe era. I've never seen him. And in the database that my holy-eyed clan has collected, there is no such expert. The Master of Safety An Yong pondered. This should be a newly emerged expert. What's more, he's using the Flame Sand Cup of Lord Yuan Arcana. The last time the Lord Yuan Arcana appeared, he used the Flame Sand Cup. Clearly, he hasn't had it for long. Could it be that Lord Yuan Ao is dead? Otherwise, why would the Flaming Sand Goblet fall into the hands of this human? Lord of An Yong's heart was filled with many doubts. In the first era of the cosmos, the holy-eyed race had 7 of the strongest experts in the cosmos. Naturally, they also had 7 small cosmos. Within one of the small-scale cosmoses, 7th True Lord. The incarnation of the Master of An Yong walked out of the beautiful translucent palace that was emitting white light and looked up at the sky. Has the human race of the primeval universe given birth to a new master of the universe? I was just about to kill the Flintstone Master, but I was stopped by a silver-winged black-haired man. I want to know his information. Stop me? Is he stronger than you? A voice came from the sky. No, of course he is far inferior to me. Lord of An Yong's avatar looked up and said, however, he has the Flaming Sand Cup and a special treasure that can control space-time, so he is able to suppress my Ice Sand Sea. Moreover, he, the Master of Taowu and the Master of Flint were all there. I had to deal with 3 of them at the same time. Even if I were to continue fighting, it would be difficult to determine the victor, so I didn't chase after them. Before, when the An Yong Emperor teleported over, he discovered Luo Feng and the other 2. If he was confident, the Master of An Yong would immediately cast a spatial seal and continue to tangle with them. However, he was clear that the other party was suppressing him in terms of domain. If he wanted to escape, he could. Secondly, there were 3 of them. Hence he watched as Luo Feng and the others left. Wait a moment, I'll contact them and investigate. A voice came from the sky. Thank you, Lord 7th True. The Lord of An Yong's incarnation bowed gratefully. Moments later. Actually, there were close to 100 forces in the cosmic sea. Some of them were killing each other while others were secretly trading with each other. For example, exchanging treasures, exchanging information, etc. As long as there were benefits, there would naturally be all kinds of transactions. As for the Holy-Eyed clan in the era of the first universe as a super strong force, there were indeed many who tried to curry favor with the Holy-Eyed clan. I've already found him. A voice rang out from the sky. The Lord of Peace An Yong immediately looked up. Silver wings and black hair. You've never seen them before. That should be the new universe lord of the primal universe humans, Milky Way leader Luo Feng. The voice in the sky said, his strength is average and his material attacks are only on par with the Lord of Banfu. The only strongest secret art I know is something like a miniature chaos world. A new punk? The Lord of An Yong laughed. Banfu Lord specializes in soul attacks, but his material attacks are very weak. Looks like this punk is very weak. There are 6 levels of universe lords, he should be at the 2nd level. The voice in the sky said. Looks like his treasures are special, and the humans gave him precious treasures to protect himself and escape. The Lord of An Yong laughed. A punk that was only good at escaping was weak in close combat, there was nothing to fear. Just the 2nd level. In the first universe era, the universe lord strength was divided into 6 levels. The first level was when one had just entered the universe lord level, their life force genetic level was 100 times, they hadn't even created their ultimate techniques, and their treasures were average too. The 2nd level was when their life force genetic level was 1000 times, they had created their ultimate techniques, and their treasures weren't bad. It was the normal level. The 3rd level was the pinnacle like the Flaming Emperor, Flintstone Emperor, etc. The 4th level was the pinnacle like the Ice Peak leader, the An Yong leader, or the Star River leader who didn't use his ultimate techniques. The 5th level was the pinnacle of the pinnacle, the level of the Star River leader and Primal Chaos City leader. Normally they either created their strongest techniques or acquired treasures, etc. The 6th level, in the primal universe there wasn't such a division. This 6th level referred to the universe lords that had the strongest treasures. Just a 2nd level punk. The An Yong leader laughed. The An Yong leader's strength was at the 4th level. However, he had the plant life god body, his life force genetic level was close to 10,000 times, and his armor could weaken attacks to 1/100,000. Even Luo Feng would have to become a universe lord before he could match up to him. If he relied on exchanging blows, the Ice Peak leader and the others could only dodge. Pinnacle domain treasures are simply too rare. Our holy-eyed race has close to 100 universe lords, and the pinnacle domain treasures have long been taken by the strongest. If I can get one human Milky Way leader, you're dead. The An Yong leader anticipated. The holy-eyed race was after all the strongest of the first universe era's pinnacle races. The strongest of the 7 universes. Close to 100 universe lords. All of them had lived for an incredibly long time. An Yong leader, amongst the close to 100 universe lords of the holy-eyed race, could only be considered average. Wait and see, human Milky Way leader. This is the first time we've met. In the future we'll have plenty of chances to spar. In space outside the Pinnacle World region, on a celestial mountain rock, 3 majestic silhouettes stood there. Flint leader, there's no need. LuoFeng said. My life was saved by you, this is the greatest favor. Flint leader raised his head. My promise before was only to repay you, you don't have to be humble. In the future if you need anything, just inform me. No matter what I'm doing I'll immediately rush over. Even if I have to risk my life I won't retreat. LuoFeng laughed involuntarily. Flint leader's personality was just like that. Stubborn. Incomparably stubborn. If he wanted to scold he'd scold, no matter how high his accomplishments were in the future. The moment he made a promise he wouldn't turn back even if he had to go through fire and water. Flint leader, you can't handle this danger? LuoFeng couldn't help but ask. He was very curious. Being able to survive in the cosmic sea for so long, he should have some life-saving methods. Even if I meet the strongest warrior of the universe, as long as he doesn't have an ultimate treasure to attack me, I can withstand it for a long time. First, I use my ultimate treasures to block. Normally I can weaken 90% of the power. Then when it hits my armor the threat is very small. The Flintstone Master sighed. Unfortunately this Master of Safety An Yong's battle style just happens to counter me. He is unpredictable and can easily change his moves, but I charge forward bravely and am not good at blocking. He even wants to trade blows with me. Actually my god body is very strong too, 100,000 kilometers long, I'm not afraid of exchanging blows. However An Yong leader's attacks are even stronger than mine. Knowing a few ultimate techniques and being able to instantly change moves, such unpredictable moves, there aren't many to begin with. To be able to make me unable to block them is even rarer, and to have a god body that's even stronger than mine, that's even rarer. Flint leader said, in the entire cosmic sea there are only a few. Usually the moment I discover them I don't even need to run. I didn't expect to lose this time. LuoFeng nodded. Right. Knowing a few ultimate techniques and being good at changing moves, his attacks were known for their speed. And his body's defense was even stronger than Flint leader's. Everything matched, it was indeed rare. I've decided to lose this time too. Flint leader said, my god body has taken a lot of damage this time, it'll take a long time to recover. During this period of recuperation, I'll properly study my shield defense. I'm a Flint special life form, naturally not agile enough. It's better to create a shield technique, with a shield in one hand and a spear in the other, it'll be much safer. You should have done this earlier. Swan leader said. LuoFeng nodded. Different life forms had different battle styles. Yuanao Lord was like that, his body was huge, his agility wasn't enough, hence he too used a shield. Of course, like humans they were naturally agile, LuoFeng's blade was naturally able to swiftly block. Those huge rock life forms were much weaker in this aspect. I was too overconfident. LuoFeng, Flint, will never forget your kindness, just tell me if you need anything. Flint leader's voice rumbled. Then I'll first return to the primal universe, the next time I come I'll bring a shield. I won't send you off. LuoFeng smiled. The Flintstone Master spoke to the Tao Master and left with a teleportation. Even though my armor's defense is 10 times stronger than Flint leader's, his god energy is 10 times stronger than mine. Combining the two, his defense is indeed stronger than mine. In terms of body, it's also slightly bigger than mine. LuoFeng exclaimed within, luckily he was more agile, even if he met An Yong leader he could still block. And with his killing of Wu Yi and the blazing sand cup, he could fight and flee whenever he wanted. I have to train myself. Right now my weakness is my attack techniques, and they're only the ultimate techniques. LuoFeng thought, like Flint leader, Swan leader, these pinnacles have already created their strongest techniques. The Master of An Yong even created several sets of the strongest secret arts. After which, LuoFeng and Swan leader separated and once again roamed the outer regions of Qingfeng world. Time passed. While LuoFeng was roaming the Qingfeng world, he would occasionally meet some alien race warriors from before the Great Apocalypse. However, with his killing of Wu Yi and the blazing sand cup, he didn't really meet with any danger. After all, the pinnacle of the universe lords and the strongest warriors of the universe all entered the inner regions of Qingfeng world. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. The primal universe human LuoFeng's name slowly spread throughout the other two universe eras. They too knew that this human LuoFeng's strength may be average, but he was hard to deal with.